This is Ted the Great, and this is the What's Left to Say podcast. Uh, I hope y'all guys are having a blessed Saturday. I'm recording this on Saturday, so you're having a blessed day. We're actually having a football game in the area that is going to be interesting. If you're a Bama fan, uh, shout out to you because I'm definitely a Bama fan. I don't have any Bama gear on, but I'm definitely a diehard Bama fan. We're supposed to be playing Tennessee, I think. So we're gonna see how that game goes. And my podcast is, I'm like I said, I'm gonna be touching on different things. I don't know what the sequence of episodes I'm gonna, upload. This may be one of the first episodes I upload. So just to reiterate, I'm going to be talking about like everything from relationships, may touch on politics. I'm still kind of mulling over whether I want to really touch on politics because I'm interested in politics to a certain extent, but also it can be very divisive. And, I want to come with with the facts instead of just kind of glancing over things here and there and not being as informed as I could be if if I actually did the research, because you don't want to be trying to make a point and you don't really got all your facts, and then of course people are going to say, well, you're not even researched on the topics you're talking about, and how can you express an opinion about certain political issues and you haven't researched. So I definitely don't want to do that. um, but I'm going to touch on movies, shows. Another show I'm going to actually go over that I watched is the Menendez Netflix movie, and then also I'm going to get into there's been some updates as far as new information that may change some things as far as when it comes to them being incarcerated. So that's still something that is an ongoing thing as of right now, but I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm just gonna be tapping in with the different topics, and just give me a feedback. Tell me what you think. Tell me if the topics are interesting to you, if my viewpoint is interesting to you, if you think that I can kind of expound on different subjects a little bit more, or what topics you excuse me, sorry, I've been drinking coffee, I'm burping like a motherfucker. If you want me to touch on specific topics, so I'm just very open and very interested in your feedback and feedback, critiques, opinions, etc. So that as long as they're given with a certain level of respect, I'm cool on criticism. And definitely subscribe, like, share, comment. But anyway, we're gonna get into it as far as you know um, my day and kind of my week. I've been actually talking about interesting topics and stuff as far as at work, and we were literally talking about Stranger Things, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look it up. I might, I'm gonna actually do that right now. Let's see. Yeah, I want to look up the freaking Stranger Things. I was actually having a conversation with multiple people at my job about Stranger Things, and we were talking about we're gonna kind of watch a few of those episodes around the same time, and just like have conversations about those episodes, because there's like half of the people that are in my work area have never seen Stranger Things. I know it's crazy, but yeah, they've never seen Stranger Things, and it's such a great show. And shout out to any other fans of Stranger Things, because I'm a huge fan of that show. Let's see, Stranger Things season 5. But yeah, like, okay, Teen Vogue. This is what Teen Vogue says about the new season of Stranger Things. It's official. Season 5 of Stranger Things will be its last. Back in February 2022, the Duffer Brothers announced the news themselves in an open letter shared with fans alongside season 4's Official poster. Da da da. 7 years ago, we planned out the complete story arc for Stranger Things. The duo wrote in their letter. At the time, we predicted the story would last 4 or 5 seasons. It proved too large to tell it in four, as soon as soon you'll see for yourselves, we are now hurtling towards our finale. Season 4 will be the penultimate. I might be pronouncing this wrong, but F it. Yeah, I'm just pronouncing it wrong. Penultimate season. Season 5 will be the last. Let's see. With 9 scripts, da 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 da. I'm trying to see where they're going. When are they going to wrap this up? Okay, Stranger Things premiered on Netflix back in 2016. Da da da. See, I'm trying to get down to brass tacks and figure out when is season 5 going to drop. At the moment, there is no trailer for Stranger Things season 5, but on July 15th, Netflix gifted us all with something special. The streamer dropped the very first look at Stranger Things 5 with never before seen footage in celebration of the cast and crew reaching the halfway mark of filming. We're about halfway through filming now, and it's exciting. Series star Caleb McLaughlin says via voiceover in the clip, there's so much going on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stranger Things season 5. Da da da. It says as of October 2024, Stranger Things season 5 has not finished filming, but we are very close. In an interview with People on October 13th, 2024. That's actually my birthday. Wow. I was born on October 13th. Shout out to all my Libras. But they said Finn Warhard, who plays Mike Wheeler on the show, confirmed that a wrap on season 5 is imminent. Okay, so it's going to be wrapped around now. Because, of course, October 13th literally just passed. Okay, they have begun shooting. Really, da da da. Revealed that revealed to GQ that the show would most likely be released in early 2025 at the earliest, which we now know might be a little bit too optimistic. Given the extensive visual effects the show demands and the demand schedules of the young cast of rising stars, new season it's likely that new season will take even longer to hit the streamer. So doing some basic math, we probably won't get Stranger Things 5 until late 2025 at the earliest or most likely early 2026. Okay, so pretty much there's an indefinite release date for Stranger Things 5. For season 5 and I'm willing to wait for it. Unfortunately, I will say that I would like to have it like right now, so I could binge watch all the previous seasons and then get right into season 5. But with such a great show, and then they're saying taking into account the special effects and the shooting schedule for the young stars of the show. It kind of prolongs the amount of time it takes to put out the show. Uh, and I can wait for it if the quality warrants it. Which as far as previous seasons, if you pay attention to Stranger Things, the quality warrants how long it takes to crank out these seasons. And shout out to the Duffer Brothers because it's a phenomenal show, and it just being like paralleling Dungeons and Dragons, and then with the whole '80s influence is just such a great show because I'm a huge fan of the '80s, which the longer I record these podcast episodes, the more you'll find out like my different interests because I love '80s music, like '80s new wave music specifically. Um, '80s R&B, uh, like some '80s hip hop, and just like the whole aesthetic of the '80s, from like the neon colors, the Back to the Future movies, The what else you got in the 80s? I may do an episode where I just like focus on the 80s just because personally I was born in the 80s. Um Not gonna give my exact birthday unless you guys ask, which I can volunteer then. But I just I love a lot of 80s music, everything from Michael Jackson to Prince. Prince is one of my favorite artists, mind you. Madonna. What else? Those are just some of the artists I can think off the top of my head. I don't want to just ramble on about like different artists or having to like go back because I feel like I took a while on that tablet as far as when it came to looking up the information about Stranger Things 5. So I don't want too many silent gaps in my podcast. But yeah, Stranger Things 5 is going to be a very interesting season. If y'all have already been paying attention and y'all know kind of where everything is, where you know the I think Maddie, I think it's Maddie. Yeah, the Maddie character. She doesn't know what's going on with a certain thing. So I don't want to give it away too much just in case some people haven't seen Stranger Things all the way up till season 5. But anyway, I'm a huge Stranger Things fan, huge sci-fi fan in general. I got that from my pops. My pops is a huge sci-fi fan, huge horror fan. Uh, really started getting into anime probably in like the last 5 or 6 years because I was kind of there were some anime shows I fuck with, and then I was just like, I don't know if I really get into this, and then I started finding, my niche as far as like different anime shows I could get into, but I enjoy anime. I definitely love the Attack on Titan, Berserk, Death Note, just to name a few. Um, Grew up on comics, so I kind of check all the boxes of like being a black nerd where I like comics, I like anime, I like hip hop, used to skateboard. Um, I what else? Huge into that stuff. Like huge into spirituality. I meditate at times, so huge into a lot of different things. And I'll probably expound on it or give you my perspective on different topics. But anyway, the crux of what we're gonna really get into is going to be the Menendez movie review or Menendez miniseries review. It's not a movie, but it's a miniseries. And then also the Menendez review, and then the update on what's going on with them so far. And then the let me look at my notes. I just like literally went blank. I've had a lot of stuff going on. By the way, SpaceX, yeah, SpaceX, chopstick. And I'm gonna get into like what that means and kind of a loose history of like what's Elon Musk and them were doing for the past couple of years with the SpaceX program. But yeah, but to get into the Menendez movie or Menendez miniseries review, okay, here's my perspective on or my knowledge of the Menendez brothers prior to watching the actual TV series and the whole monster, uh, production of you know this series, this miniseries, and then also the Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries, because I think it is very interesting that the same people that they that's their focus. They're focusing on you know looks like murderers, like people that commit violent murders. Okay, my history with not my history. I'm like, oh, I help them commit the murders. No. But my knowledge of the Menendez brothers were, I remember hearing about them when I was like a kid, and my mother was just like literally called them the Menendez boys. Like the Menendez boys, they da 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 da. And I knew that they killed their parents, which is a very what they call it, patricide. Yeah, where you murder your parents. Um, and yeah, that's a very horrendous crime. And I think depending on the situation, it's whether the situation is harsh, it's still hard to believe somebody could do that. But if it's a situation where somebody's defending themselves or something's going on, which I'm alluding to a little bit later, as far as what they say is their defense, I think that you could understand how somebody could do that. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I really knew about them. That they were two brothers, came from like well-to-do families, and they murdered their parents. And it was a lot of times it was alluded to that it was over money. So that's the only thing I knew. So I didn't really have any higher expectation than they're going to illustrate the fact that these two brothers murdered their parents, and it was probably over money. Okay, so I'm coming into this miniseries with that knowledge, but with the whole monster franchise or the monster production company, the previous miniseries was Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer is was a serial killer, cannibalistic, literally ate his victims. And prior to even watching that, I didn't really know anything other than what I just told y'all about Jeffrey Dahmer. But of course, you if you watch the miniseries, it's a very in depth, descriptive. Uh, Lord, that that was a that was a crazy, well, not even documentary, but a crazy miniseries. But anyway, not to like ramble on about that miniseries. It was very well done, very graphic, very and the biggest criticism I think it got was it was very empathetic to the perspective of Jeffrey Dahmer. And I'm guessing they're going off an interviews he's done, maybe what his parents' perspectives were on it, maybe people that knew him, et cetera, et cetera. But they made him more so like a sympathetic character and an empathetic, well, not empathetic, but a sympathetic character as far as you sympathizing with his upbringing, his parents, kind of is in so many ways neglecting him. And he was like this isolated person who pretty much his only interest was to find dead animal carcasses with his father and to dissect them. And that went from him dissecting animals to him dissecting freaking human beings, and that's crazy. It's crazy work. So I think that with that said, it the way that they illustrated him doing that, the way that they went into his psyche, the way that he had these delusional fantasies, I think was very interesting, and I think it was very well made. Very disturbing, of course. But as far as like the content, I definitely enjoyed and was interested in the content, and it was very well made. So I had, when it came to going into this Menendez brothers um, miniseries, I had very high expectations. Okay, all right. Um, I think that uh, and I think that I may go into like a a philosophical rant, but I think that it's very interesting to understand the psyche of somebody that is able to kill. Whether it kind of be like this one event, such as the Menendez brothers situation, or if it's like somebody that's a serial killer, like a Jeffrey Dahmer situation, where they can kill multiple times and in a very gruesome way. Because with the Menendez brothers, it was a very gruesome and very violent way, but it was more so like this instant thing that happened. They kind of got it out the way, and then try to cover it up as best as they could, and then that was it. They didn't harm anybody or kill anybody. They threatened somebody. We'll get into that later, or loosely threatened somebody, but they didn't. They never killed again. With the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, he killed repeatedly. He There was a sexual aspect to it. There was um, a more so warped sense of having these victims, even though they were lifeless bodies, near him. And he did, not going to go into it. If you've seen the miniseries, you know how, kind of twisted his mind was when it came to like the reasoning behind why he took out his victims, so to speak. So I think it's very interesting to like see those dynamics. Well, not dynamic. I say dynamics. The differences between why Dahmer killed and why the Menendez brothers killed. But anyway, going into the show, I didn't really have any preconceived notions aside from okay, aside from the reason they killed. That's the only preconceived notion I had. I was just like, well, they killed them because they wanted the money. They came from a well-to-do family. Dad probably had the bread, and they were just like, man, we tired of listening to you, bro. Like, we want money, man. We don't want to get the 500 grand allowance. So we're gonna go ahead and take your ass out, bro. But you know, that's what I thought initially, and then so once you watch the miniseries, then you kind of I'm not gonna say that there's no way they could have made up any of the reasoning why they killed their parents, but it's I think it's possible. We can't just negate it and take it out the realm of possibility. But I think that because of the some of the evidence that is that other relatives and or friends corroborated. See, that's a difficult word to pronounce. Corroborated. I think it's fair to say that that's a high possibility that the father did do some of that stuff. But anyway, okay, started watching the show. First episode, they get into it, like very gruesome stuff. Like they show I think initially they showed the kids, the Menendez brothers, in the limousine, and they're talking about their parents would be proud of them and all of this stuff. And this was after they pretty much killed their parents, and they're pretty much enjoying the money that they have access to. And then I think midway into that first episode, they go into when they killed their parents, and this was like a gruesome scene. I think it was probably as graphic as they could have made it, and it's around nighttime. They pull up in their vehicle. They both have shotguns, and then they go into the to their parents' house that they are currently living in, and you know, go into the living room. Their parents are watching TV. It's just like literally like just chilling, unexpected. Like not even anticipating anything remotely close to that, enjoying themselves, watching TV, laughing, and all that stuff. They come in with shotguns, blow their parents away. Parents get up like, what? Huh? What's going on? Why you got shotguns? Oh my god! And blow the father away. Shoot the father. I think shot the father twice in the chest, and then like shot him in. I think shot him in the head, and then the mother shot her freaking fingers off. It was very graphic, Jesus, and yeah, and then there was actually a point where they walk off, and then I think it was Lyle, yeah, like the brother Lyle, he notices his mother still breathing, and this was the actual thing. This actually happened, because I watched a documentary about well, after the fact I watched a documentary on the Menendez brothers, and they said literally like the mother was still breathing, and because she crawled, they had evidence where they could tell that she was crawling around for a little bit, and then he came back and he finished the job pretty much. So seemingly, it was a very brutal killing, and then they ended up putting it on, saying it was the mob later on. But after they shot them, they picked up the shotgun shells, uh, and took the shotguns and like threw them in the woods. I don't know how far out they drove, but they went to like a wooded area and try to get rid of the evidence essentially. Then they try to come up with an alibi. They went to the movies. So they were seeing like some movie that was playing there. They were trying to get a ticket. They couldn't get tickets because they were buying the tickets too late, and I guess that was illegal. And then they went to like a some restaurant, and they trying to like make it seem like they were at the restaurant during when this whole these killings happened. So you know, lo and behold, they go. I think they go back to their parents' mansion, make the phone call, act like they're distraught. Oh my god, I can't believe it. My parents were murdered, and all of that bad acting shit. Then that's when you go back to how this occurred, and and then they go into well, not necessarily how it occurred, but go into how they get figured out as the perpetrators of these violent acts. And then how they got found out was because Eric couldn't take it. The younger brother, who was more susceptible to the sexual abuse than his older brother, because I think with the older brother, later on you find out that the abuse stopped at a very young age, as far as like the alleged abuse, than it did with the younger brother. And the younger brother felt so much guilt from killing his parents that he went to a therapist. Once you talk about you committed murders and you went to a therapist, it can't go in a good direction. He pretty much blabs to the therapist that da 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 XYZ killed my parents. Me and my brother killed my parents. So, eventually they get found out. They're spending a whole bunch of money buying real estate, opening up businesses, da 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 da. And what else happens? It gets real crazy, and a lot of these events happen, which is even crazier. Um, Everything from the fact that Eric talked to the therapist's side chick. He involved her. She ended up being nervous and going to the cops. Uh, the therapist ended up losing his license to practice therapy. Um, the the brothers, they ended up having I think it was a mistrial, their first trial, second trial, because Lyle talked to some older lady named Norma, who befriended Lyle and ended up releasing the tapes that she recorded while he was talking to her over the phone. It harmed their defense in their, when they got retried, and Lyle could not testify, essentially. Okay. Um. Anyway, that happened, and the they ended up being convicted the second go around. Um. They didn't really have a decent defense, because a lot of the stuff that was on the tapes that got recorded by this Norma lady were could be used against them, even though they couldn't be used in a trial. But it was still like ended up becoming public fodder, as far as like people were gonna put that information out there, and the jury would hear it. So anyway, they get convicted, and phew, that's it. They're locked up for life. But because this film jumps the timelines, in different ways. I'll get into like the abuse, the alleged abuse that the father, you know, uh, was committing on the sons. It was very graphic. I'm not gonna get into too much detail. If you've seen it, then you're gonna know how graphic it is. But stuff that I feel like, if you are found out that you've done that to to any child, let alone your own children, I don't think there should be a I don't think there should be a jail sentence for stuff like that. I'll just put it that way. I think, yeah, I think there should be like a very brutal um, into the whoever does that to children. But the big thing is within this pedophilia and incestual abuse that the father allegedly did to his kids. Does that warrant them getting off for killing their parents? Now, me personally, if the father did do that, I don't necessarily think they should have gotten off because Lyle was of age, so he could have went to the police and done different things. But I do think that they should have gotten a lighter sentence. Like they should have gotten maybe manslaughter. Um, Maybe manslaughter if it was found out that the mother was like complicit in this, in this situation. Because I don't understand how a parent can know that another parent is abusing their children and do nothing. So I think definitely that the mother should have they should have um, they shouldn't have been charged with the murder of the mother if the mother was complicit in that whole thing. But um, anyway, just talking about like the actual situation with the father because the father was allegedly the father was a monster in the show. Like put it put it loosely. He was a very abusive, everything from hitting to molesting to being verbally abusive. Um, all of that stuff. Mother was very unhinged according to the miniseries. What do I really think? Do I think the father was being abusive? Now we're starting to get new information as far as a member of a group that he managed is saying that he was abused by the father, and I don't think that they would just like. In my opinion, I'm not sure. I don't know how much money that the Menendez brothers have or that they had from their family's fortune. If they don't really have any money from their family's fortune, then I don't see how a member of Menudo, that's the group, would testify. Well, not testify. Would come out and you know allege that the father, um, the Menendez brothers' father, molested him. So I don't really see a motivation for that if that didn't really occur. And then I think something that like a cousin or somebody said they no they had a letter that I think Lyle wrote to their cousin that was talking about that he was being molested. But that's new evidence that has come out recently, and then that segues into like it's how it is going to potentially mean that the Menendez brothers may be recharged, and it may go from a murder to a manslaughter, which means they could get out, like literally, because they served like 2 or 3 times over the charge of manslaughter. But that's very interesting. Just as far as the acting was very good. I will say, um, who is it? I I think initially, and then this is initially what I thought. Before I watched the documentary based on the Menendez brothers, I felt like a little bit that the actor that played Eric Menendez was overacting. I felt like he was overacting because it was just like he was just like, uh well, um, um, I don't. He was very like very emotional, very dramatic, very like fragile, and like how he depicted the Eric Menendez. And then I started watching like testimony from Eric Menendez when he was on the stand and stuff, and how he described the abuse and stuff. And it was like, well, if he if he's not a real actor, he's doing a damn good job. Uh, you know, if yeah, if he's not an actor, he's very convincing when it comes to like how he's depicting these events that happen, that he alleges happened, as far as like with his father being abusive to him, like when it comes to like sexual abuse and all of that stuff. And I think that the actor that played Eric Menendez really captured that the essence of who he was, and like just him being kind of emotionally fragile, and being a follower in a sense when it comes to like his big brothers telling him, okay, we need to do this, you need to do this, um, you got to be strong. Like he was fathering, not fathering, he was following his big bro, and I get that. Even though I'm an only child, I get that where you have friends that have friends, or other uh, uh, people that they follow what their older sibling says and does, and I get that. Um, the character, that the actor that played Lyle was a awesome actor, phenomenal. I think he really captured like the angst of Lyle, and the kind of darkness, as far as when it comes to him trying to cover up certain things, as far as when it came to committing the murders, and then also the lead up to uh, him, you know, talking about, or I guess mulling over, like if they should commit the murder or not, or if he should, take his parents out essentially. Um, and I will definitely highlight the parents. I know actor Javier Bardem. I forgot what the female actor's name was. She's a fairly well known actress too. I don't know her name, or I don't remember her name, I should say. But Javier Bardem, of course, he was in No Country for Old Men. He was in the Ricardos movie, like something Ricardos, but pretty much like he played Desi Arnaz, and Nicole Kidman played Lucille Ball. But he's a phenomenal actor. And he really captured, him and the woman that played his wife really captured like the unhinged behavior of Jose. It was Jose Menendez. Really captured that. Man, sometimes you may have your criticisms of your parents, or other people, that you've seen as far as how they parent and stuff, but this was like next level, like narcissism, next level, like uh abuse, like parents abusing children, and next level, like with the mother doing, like she was more so on the mental abuse side. There was a very cringeworthy situation with her, where it'd be considered sexual abuse. But mostly she was like somebody that was like very like did emotionally deceptive and threatening things, more so than like just outright uh physically abusive. She wasn't really outright physically abusive. She made threats. Um, there was one where she was talking about she was going to poison the kids, or poison her kids or whatever, because they were ungrateful or something of that nature. And it's just interesting just seeing like the level um, of manipulation and abuse that the father was like putting on not only his wife, but also of course the kids. Um, and ultimately, what do I think? I think that there probably is some truth to the fact that he was a little abusive, because I think during the trial, I watched a documentary right after I watched well, not right after, but like it was a couple of days after I watched the actual movie, Netflix movie, and they just like literally said that like during the first trial, um with the Menendez brothers, there was nobody that was a character witness for Jose. They literally said he was not a likable person at all. Like he almost didn't have any character, like any redeeming characteristics from you know a standpoint of like if he was a nice guy or not. And they like literally said he was not a nice guy. He was not a likable person. And I think that says volumes. It's not like maybe one or two people disliked him. It was just like nobody liked him. Nobody was just like, oh man, he was such a great guy, such a nice guy. I mean, his secretary said that, but she was probably because she worked for him and she probably got paid well, and he might have gave her gave her bonuses or something like that. So it was just like one of those situations. So I think there was some truth to like he was abusive on some level, and then with the new information coming out, more than likely he was abusive on a sexual level. So it just depends on how much did that warrant the kids wanting to take out their parents. So there you go. But anyway, I thought, and overall, I thought it was a great watch. I like the a lot of the late '80s, early '90s music they put in there because they put in Ice Ice Baby. Dum 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 dum. Yeah, because that was like one of my favorite songs when I was a kid back in the day. Then they put in Millie Vanilli, "Girl, You Know It's True." Ooh, 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 I love you. Yeah, that was like popular back in the day. But yeah, those were cool songs that were in the mini series. What else? That's about it when it comes to that. And then my second topic, do is the SpaceX program. Elon Musk. Elon Musk is Musk is Elon Musk's creation. I'm gonna read it, some of it because I literally forgot what this consists of. I got my tablet here, people. Give me a second. Okay. Um, it's called SpaceX plans to catch Starship upper stage with chopsticks in early 2025, and that's coming straight from the big guy Elon Musk. Okay. All right. The company that made spaceflight history on Sunday, October 13th, which is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. What's happening, my Libras out there? The company that made spaceflight history on Sunday, October 13th, during the fifth test flight of its Starship mega rocket, about 7 minutes after liftoff, the vehicle's first stage booster, known as Super Heavy, came back to its launch mount where it was caught by the chopstick arms of the launch tower. And SpaceX aims to do the same with Starship's 165-foot tall, 50 meters upper stage spacecraft, known as Starship or simply Ship, in the coming months as well. According to company founder and CEO Elon Musk, hopefully early next year, and we will catch the ship too. So they created like a spacecraft that is 165 feet tall, and they plan on launching it. Let's see. SpaceX is developing the 400 foot tall, fully reusable Starship to get people and cargo to the moon and Mars and perform a variety of other space flights space flights feet as space flights space flight feats as well. That's a tongue twister. Things are going well. The vehicle's most recent two test flights on June 6th and this past Sunday were, complete successes according to the company. All right. So pretty much they're going to release they created a spacecraft. They're going to test it by launching it earlier next year, and it's supposed to carry people and cargo to the moon. See, my biggest thing, and I think that uh, there should be a certain level of concern about the reusability because I know with the NASA spacecraft they reused it for 30 years, but if it's a constant thing where they're using the spacecraft and there's a lot of wear and tear on it, I would hope that uh, it has a certain level of durability. Now, with Elon Musk's his production as far as like when it comes to the Teslas And yeah, mainly the Teslas, like the Cybertruck, for instance. It's a very durable vehicle, but space is a whole nother thing, and that's my thing. Like, it's okay. There's one thing for something to be durable on land, and you have the normal level of gravity. Not, not, they're not in space. It's not like this pressurized atmosphere. It's a little, concerning that, this is their first time really, you know, um, launching. Well, I think they launched some other. I think it might have been. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was the same spacecraft. But they launched something earlier. I think last year, and I'm just wondering like how safe it is to like put people in, something like that, and then launch it to space, and then supposedly they're talking about sending it to the moon. So that's going to be interesting to like see in the next few years or however long it takes them to finally decide to put like people in there. Um, but I think it's pretty interesting because you have Elon Musk um, doing space flights, and I want to say that Jeff Bezos is getting into the uh, the space um, the space field, I guess you could say. So, look at these billionaires, man. They're trying to conquer. They conquered business. Now they're trying to conquer space. Um, and I'm probably going to try to talk about other things that are like science related, because science is, I love science, and I think it's so interesting how, we're starting to really get into it. And I'm going to kind of wrap this video up because for one, it's a long video, and then for two, I only have like 57 minutes to record my video, and it's like at 46 right around now. So I'm just gonna kind of let this video, do its thing, and I may come back to the subject if there's other interesting things that come up with it. So, like, subscribe, share. Hope y'all have a blessed weekend, blessed day, whatever, whenever you're watching this particular episode. And this is Tez the Great. Deuces.